hip hop as we know it, spots like the Roxy and this kind of emerging thing now was pretty much on the street, literally. You know, cardboard, boombox, breakdancing, somebody emceeing, whatever. And they were getting exposed to this whole thing in real time. They met me, oh, wow, you're an artist. I met their filmmaker, Don Letts, who kind of hired me as a location scout for them to bring them around New York and show them around. And I was explaining to them what was going on. They wound up having all these rap acts.
1981 seemed to be a very busy year for you. There's a lot to unpack during this time frame.
Yeah.
But you are featured in the British punk band The Clash's This Is Radio Clash music video.
Yeah.
It appears that you're stealing some Rust-Oleum paint. You're doing a little
from
bit
Versizi Hardware on 23rd Street.
I still remember that place.
Yeah,
Yep.
great spot.
And it appears that you're stealing paint in the video. You're
on roller skates.
Doing a little bit of painting.
Yep.
There's an Art is the World car that rolls by.
Yep.
And at some point at the end of the video, there's a canvas that you drape off the roof of Bonds in Times Square.
Yes.
And I believe you, Zephyr, and possibly Kylie Jenkins worked on this canvas.
You nailed it, Chino. That's correct.
And you hung it from the roof.
Yeah.
And then, as it was explained to me, The Clash invited you to go on tour with them.
That's correct. After they saw the banner that the three of us had painted, we got an opportunity to meet the group. Their performances were overbooked at Bonds, and they wound up playing 12 or more dates, 12 to 15 performances they had to do, or they did. And the beauty of their time in New York and my meeting them and everything was coincided with the fact that, like, so they had a song. They had a double album called Sandinista, but they had a song called Magnificent Dance. And it was being played on WBLS. So it's really weird. They had this upbeat dance track being played on black radio in New York, but they're a punk group from the UK. So the whole thing was weird. Like, they got thrown into this cultural mix, and they embraced it. You know, the airplay was cool, but they embraced the culture as they saw it, at least through me and what they saw visually. And they loved it. So all of those Clash shows have rap acts opening for them. So it's pretty remarkable on their part. And this is before Run and Aerosmith. Now, this is a Clash coming in 1981 and putting us on, actually. Or certainly, they put me on, but they also put on a lot of the acts, Double Trouble, Cold Crush, like a lot of the acts that were all because Wild Style was being shot in 81. Style Wars was being shot in 81. 81 was and that's why, like, I'm not asked out of Style Wars and Wild Style, but when the actual filming was being made for both of those films, I'm off on tour with them. I come back from my 2-3 month experience with them in Europe. I run up to the Dixie Club, and I'm in a scene at the Dixie Club as an extra with Dondi in Wild Style. So I managed to actually get into Wild Style, at least in a cameo extra role. And I'm in the outtakes on the boat with Style Wars and, you know, Henry and the making of that. But I'm not in the actual front and center part because, quite frankly, like, I just wasn't around at the time. And once again, that was all cool because even when those things were being made, I was like, no, this whole thing, it's not going to happen. And then the next year is the rap tour, and that's really a kind of like, wow, wait a minute, maybe this thing is, like, maybe there is a scene here.
So I got to meet Don Letts in London while we were working on the Saatchi show.
Yes.
What an absolute legend.
What a beautiful man, right?
I was blown away by his history. There were pictures of him with Bob Marley.
Oh my God!
On the Clash set.
He was
directing the musical Youth video.
Was he not Bob's like weed guy?
It was surreal, and he was such an accomplished man. I got to me and Mike Wise got to set up his vitrine in his display area. So I got to visit his home, go through the ephemera with him.
Yeah, man.
And then return what we weren't able to use. He had a boombox or a big radio that had a Futura tag on it, a Dondi tag on it. George Clinton
Wow.
And this radio is famous. It's in the album cover. It's in press photos of him in Times Square.
I think I've seen
on the
it.
subway. So we put that on display.
Wow.
And he asked me, "Is Lenny here?" And I said, "He's not in London for the show."
Oh my God.
And he was like, "You please give him my regards."
No, Don.
But what an absolute legend and honor to sit with Don. And there are two things that I'm curious about now. So you toured with The Clash, and I was under the impression that they brought you on tour to paint live canvases during performances. Was this correct?
Yeah. So in Paris and in London, I was behind the stage, behind them on the stage, painting a large piece of fabric over the period of 5 nights. So Monday, if you will, we start, and then I'm just working now from Monday through Friday every night, continuing this like painting. So it's a work in progress that would be finalized over the last day. And that was my role with them on tour. The thing about Don, when I first arrived in London, Don's in New York working on what would become a film called Clash on Broadway. He stayed behind because he'd gotten set up in New York and he loved it. The boys love New York. But now they're back in the UK on tour. I go with them. We're in London. They're rehearsing now to go on this tour. So here I am. Don says to me, now this is the crazy thing about, 44 years ago, 1981. I've only known Don for a month or more here in New York. I've been asked now to go to London. He goes, okay, here's the keys to my flat. I live in Brixton off the blah, 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 metro, whatever, tube station. Elephant and Castle or whatever it was. Oval, I forget what. Dude gives me the keys to his apartment. So, I mean, that's just like another time, another place, right? Because no one, we don't operate like that anymore. So here I am. I'm like in a new country. I've never been in Europe before. I'm in London. I go to Brixton. I find my way there. I can find my directions. I'm ex-military. I'm good. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm in this guy's apartment. And I'm in his home. And I fell in love with reggae music because he was such a reggae guy. And like just playing his cassette tapes and just listening and, And so when I came back, I was big on Don, And I told him like, man, I love you so much for being so generous with me. You know what I mean? And like, so from the very start, we were very close and continue to be, And sadly, I would say my best mate, not only Mick Jones, love Mick, but Joe was such a wonderful man to me and treated me with such respect, and I'm so grateful for his friendship.
And you got to record a track with Mick Jones.
I don't talk about the escapades that much.
Okay, we can keep that one in the pocket.
Yeah,
I'll leave that one alone.
There you go.
Now, what I want to ask also is, around this very same period, you went on tour.
Yes.
It was probably the first hip-hop tour with Fab Five Freddy.
Correct.
You ended up in London.
Correct.
And now I'm curious, because I have the timelines a little confused in my head.
Yeah.
You were in London with The Clash, and you were in London with Fred. But at some point, you painted a piece along the trackside in Ladbroke Grove.
Ladbroke Grove, Westbourne Park
which
area.
I believe was considered the first piece of modern graffiti.
It's kind of crazy that they want to give me that. But when I first arrived in London, yes, I was living at Don's flat in Brixton. But their recording studio and their base of operations was this Ladbroke Grove, Westbourne Park area. And by the metro station, I saw this wall on the way as they're taking the tube there. I was like, damn, I could throw a piece up there. Now, yeah, this is 81. So we come back to London the following year, 82. So when I did that piece along the Skyway or whatever, the Westway, that was 1981 when I was with The Clash, just me there alone. In 82, when we came back, we didn't do anything there. We were only there for like a day and a half. We only came into town to do one performance, and that's where Jeanette Beckman famously photographed Ram, Freddie, the photo of me and Don D by the dumpster. But that was like an in-and-out, burger kind of an operation. We didn't stay there long. But we did dip our foot into the UK, and that was cool. And yeah, by that time, maybe people had heard of me, even in the UK at that time, because I was just there the previous year with The Clash. So, that was part of the hype about me being on that tour initially, just because I was also friends with the organizational people. But, oh yeah, Futura, you were just in Paris and London, with the Clash. So,
and during this same time stateside,
Zilch.
Patty Astor is starting the Fun Gallery.
Patty's starting Fun.
And a lot of the names that we recognize as established artists today, that was probably the gallery that a lot of people, maybe Kenny Scharf, Keith, and so on and so forth, have had their first solo graffiti shows.
Everybody, a lot of people's first shows were at the Fun. Keith, Kenny, myself, Dondi, Kylie. I think Andy would have shown eventually when she moved to 10th Street, started on 11th, went to 10th. But yeah, that was the beginning of alternative spaces in the East Village. Fashion Moda was up and running. There was an exhibition. Crash, prior to Patty, Crash did the Gas exhibition, Graffiti Art Success. That was in Fashion Moda. That's also the end of 80. That's like after the mashup of SE Studios, later people started getting the mindset of like, yeah, we should organize and do something. Fashion Moda was a convenient answer for the guys like Crash and Days that were living right there in that area. So I'd say before the Fun, it was even Fashion that did the first exhibition. Fun's popping up. The New York New Wave show in 1982 is also very important. Enter Jean-Michel, and and now the 80s is really stimulated. Even Jean almost showed with us at Fun, but was just kind of, I would say, on another level, even early on.